What up, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater, and we're going to talk about the second pillar of our three pillars. First, we talked about movesets, and today we're going to talk about, I was going to talk about humor, but let's talk about drama instead. So we've got the in-ring product, drama, and humor. So, screw it. Let's talk about drama. These are going to be rants anyways. So, drama, in my opinion, is the most important part of wrestling, right? Obviously, all three of these need to work in tandem, right? If wrestling didn't have the actual wrestling, it would just be a soap opera, and that would be a different thing, and maybe it'd make more money. Who knows? But the point is, drama is central to the presentation of wrestling, right? Some nerd who came onto my videos, I shouldn't say nerd, maybe he's a nice guy. Some guy that came to my videos, he accused me of not knowing about how wrestling is supposed to be presented. Obviously, he was wrong, and he doesn't understand, but maybe he'll see this video and he'll learn a few things. Namely, the importance of drama. So in a wrestling match, drama is central, cuckolds, central to the presentation of wrestling. Why? Well, the most obvious reason is that people, and wrestlers in general, have to have a reason for two things. One, a reason why they're fighting, and two, a reason why I should care that they're fighting, right? The drama or storytelling elements are crucial in determining who is the intended face and who is the intended heel. You understand? The intended face needs to be fighting for a good cause. It can be a personal cause, but it needs to be a noble cause. The heel needs to be fighting for a duplicitous cause or to somehow prevent the face from attaining his noble cause, right? This is basic. That's what wrestling is supposed to be. So, the beautiful thing about this is that this rather simple structure can be included in many different storylines. Like I said in my example with Val Venus and Goldust, as well as my example of Christian Cage, or Christian I should say, and Jericho in the whole Trish Stratus thing. With both these feuds, there was a clear good guy and there was a clear bad guy. And then, if a twist were to happen, if a turn were to happen, it would be meaningful, right? As it was in both of these situations where there was one twist in one, but there was another little revelation in the other, right? With that being said, compare and contrast that to a throwaway match, let's say, between Carlito and Ric Flair, which happened every week in like 2008. Ric Flair and Carlito were teaming up. All of a sudden, Carlito turns heel and clotheslines Ric Flair. Who cares? Who cares? Nobody. Because there was no storyline as to why Carlito and Flair were even tag teaming. They were tag teaming for the sake of tag teaming. So when one partner betrays the other, it's immaterial. Same thing with, let's say, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Right? People were like, wow, what a betrayal. It's a horrible betrayal because it was never explained and it was never laid out beforehand, right? It wasn't teased, right? And more importantly, we don't know why it happened. I still don't know. What, he was jealous of Gargano? That's the only explanation. The jealous partner thing is a stupid trope. Versus, compare and contrast that to, I don't know, let's think of a recent one. The betrayal of the Shield by Seth Rollins. That was a very well done betrayal. It was a very well done dramatic moment. Because for weeks, if not months, they were teasing dissension with Dean Ambrose kind of being the one who's losing his mind and Roman Reigns kind of being the one who's trying to keep him in check. So the tension was between Ambrose and Reigns, and Seth Rollins was the middle of that. Now, the storyline went, Seth Rollins understands. You don't even have to explain the storyline. You can imply it. The implications were that the focus is on the two other guys, and Seth Rollins is now here playing the role of babysitter. Wait a second. He's not okay with that. He's Seth Rollins. He believes he's the number one of these three jobbers, right? So he takes matters into his own hands and aligns with Triple H, who sees potential in him. This makes Dean Ambrose, mostly Dean Ambrose, but also Seth Rollins. It elevates them to something of less than the mid-carders that they should have been. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns, who is the ultimate, face that comes out of this, he is supposed to be the one that eventually stops Seth Rollins and Triple H, which is exactly what happened. They botched it a few times, but it doesn't matter. The point is, someone has to come out on top, and that person is then made. This happens only if the drama exists between the three people, as well as between Evolution and what's-his-face, the Shield. Now, the importance of drama, once again, cannot be understated. If I don't know which is very common nowadays in wrestling, that the fans don't know why people are wrestling. For example, I don't know why Sami Zayn is going after Gunther. I don't know. It's just that he won a match, and this gives him the right to challenge for the title. Boring. I have no interest in this whatsoever. If I did, I'd go watch some like Indonesian MMA where it's just two guys fighting for a title. No, that's not good enough. It's certainly not good enough for WrestleMania. I have to have a reason. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. Okay, I'm not excited at the match because it's just two twins at the end of the day, but there is a reason. They have a rivalry that stems back since day one. That's how they should build it. Day one-ish. Uso versus Uso. You know what I'm saying? But there's something there, right? Aside from just being twins, there's the drama of one twin being on one side and the other twin being on the other side, at least for now. With all that being said, the match becomes automatically more compelling than the Sami Zayn Gunther match. Same thing, the tag team match. I'm excited for it only because it might be the best match of the night because it's going to be like a 12-man ladder match. And, 12 men, ladders could be good, right? But insofar as the match goes, there's no storyline behind it at all. There's no storyline at all behind Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Zero storyline. Zero. They're just one is the champion and the other one is the number one contender. It's indistinguishable from Sami Zayn and Gunther, right? It makes no difference. I would even argue that the Io Shirai Bayley thing also doesn't really make sense. All of a sudden, Bayley decides to turn on them. They turn on Bayley. It is what it is. There's no reason for them to do that at all. They should just kept Bayley around, had her go after Rhea Ripley. That would have been nice, but instead, Bayley took on the diminutive position and now has to wrestle Io Shirai, or Io Sky, I should say, who I don't even think should be in WWE. But that's neither here nor there. The point stands. We need drama to move wrestling forward. The most important element of drama, and why drama is important, centers around one specific thing. And that one specific thing is the mid-card and the undercard. You can get away with having the Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody and Seth. You could have made that The Rock and Roman versus Cody and Otis if you wanted, and you could still get away with it because it's the main event and it involves The Rock as well as the champion, right? You can get away with it at the upper levels. At the upper levels, you don't necessarily need a story. At the upper levels, it's acceptable to have John Cena versus Great Khali, and the storyline being, can John Cena overcome this new threat? Because it's John Cena, it's the main event. But in the mid-card and the undercard, where this is not happening at all anymore, is where this becomes critical. It is critical for wrestling to reestablish the mid-card as a place where great stories happen. Because the mid-card already begs the question of, why do I care if Sami Zayn or Gunther wins? Well, if Sami Zayn slept with Gunther's wife, I would care a lot more. Because a storyline has been put there. The storyline that they always default to, which is also not good enough, is can the underdog overcome? Well, considering that Sami Zayn has had more success in WWE than Gunther, in terms of titles that he's had, and he's main event at WrestleMania, and Gunther persistently is a mid-carder, then I don't really see Sami Zayn as the underdog. As a matter of fact, if I had to bet money, I'd bet money on Sami Zayn. I mean, I wouldn't because who cares about this match, but you see what I'm saying? There needs to be a reason why I am supposed to care for people like Zion Quinn. Otherwise, gimmicks would never exist. Gimmicks and drama are what elevates Stone Cold above stunning Steve Austin. Drama is what can elevate Kane into the main event, despite his limited gimmick. Drama is what can make Triple H a main eventer. All of these things come from drama. The fact that Triple H does 6 moves instead of 5 is completely irrelevant. Nobody cares. Triple H is an evil, cerebral heel who leads DX, whose gimmick at the time was they always interfere in everything. They were no longer the goofs that had fun. They were just people that interfere in everything, and that was their shtick. With all that being said, the question became, well, who's going to answer this? Who's going to overcome? And what was the answer? Well, it was The Rock, a very masculine guy who was out there, made no excuses, and was ready to layeth the smacketh down. Now, you compare that to the storyline being told with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, and you tell me which one's better up in this piece. Cuckolds!